Hi, welcome back to another episode of Disaster Surveyor. Today we're going to be reviewing how to fill out a worksite triage form. So we'll say we came upon this worksite here and we're going to initiate our worksite triage form. We'll open up the application, touch on the worksite triage button. That's going to open up the new or old existing forms. We're going to start a new form. Right here we're going to go ahead and start the worksite ID. We're going to say we're working in sector A. This is the first worksite we've come across, so it'll be A1. Then you can start typing in the address, worksite boundaries. One thing you want to notice is the GPS coordinates have pre-populated. Once you open this form, it's going to pre-populate your GPS coordinate. If you'd like to update it or get a more accurate GPS location, you can hit the set button and that will update your GPS coordinates. So right now we're filling out the worksite boundary. That could be south of a major highway, river, or whatever it may be. We're going to touch on the building use button. We're going to say this is a office. So we'll touch on that, it pre-populates. As we fill out the additional information, you can also notice your team ID, date, and time will also pre-populate for you. This just helps expedite your data collection when you're out in the field. So we'll say this had 6 floors, no basement. This is what's important now is who's missing, not confirmed. So we have 7 people missing. Right here we're going to touch on the confirmed. So we'll say we're 2 people that we have confirmed, we've communicated with them. And now we're going to fill out the triage category. So since this is a multi-operational period, heavy type work, and there are confirmed, we're going to press B for the worksite triage category. So we'll go ahead and continue with these drop downs. The type of collapse, this is a pancake type, so we'll touch on that. That will pre-populate. If there are any hazards on the worksite, we'll say there's natural gas that we smell. So we're going to populate that information in this box here. Now as we scroll down, we'll go ahead and start checking off the type of work we anticipate at this worksite. Also, there's a box to the right of these check boxes. This will allow you to add any additional information if needed. Now we're going to say there's no safety issues at this time, so we'll go ahead and push none. And at the bottom you will also see that it does pre-populate who is the one filling it out because you're a registered user, and at this point you can type in what your position is during this operation. Once you've completed this, you can scroll to the top, take a look at all your information. Another thing that's available to you is the Worksite Marking. So as you filled out this triage category form, it will actually create a sample of what your worksite, your marking will look like. So this is what you could show to your rescuer who is assisting you or yourself, and it'll give you a guide on actually putting a proper marking on the building. So at this point we're going to add a photo. We're going to touch on the camera button and it'll open it up. All photos taken in Disaster Surveyor are low resolution, and that's going to help with if you're in limited connectivity or using a satellite Wi-Fi. If you want to enlarge that photo, you can touch on it. It'll enlarge it for you. Touch it again, it goes back small. We're done here. We hit the back button, and now we're actually going to complete this form and close it out. If you have connectivity or you're connected to your satellite Wi-Fi, you can touch that, upload it to the server, and now your base of operations can start working on coming up with a plan of action for all the work sites that you've come across. Well, that's going to do it for today. If you'd like to keep watching for what we call our tips and tricks, feel free to stay tuned. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the next Disaster Surveyor tutorial. Thank you for watching. Thank you to those who are staying tuned in for today's tips and tricks. Today's focus is worksite triage category A through F. So we're going to start out with initiating a worksite triage form. We'll fill in the basic information. So we're going to say this is our second worksite and we're still in A, so we're going to put A2. We're not going to fill in everything right now. We're going to scroll down to the worksite triage category. So we're going to focus in right now on how to properly choose letter A through F. So let's start with the horizontal rows. On top we see confirmed live victims. This is our #1 priority. These are people that we know are alive that are viable rescues. So this is someone I could see, I can touch, I can communicate with. However you've determined that this person is truly alive and still in this collapsed structure, Triage category A and B are the two top priorities. Now we'll talk about the two bottom rows, and we'll talk about them together. They're very similar in nature. So unknown victims are either there's a building that's collapsed, I know there's people inside, but I cannot confirm they're alive. Or let's say you're at a supermarket and I don't know who was in this building prior to the collapse. So not knowing whether there's people in there or not, or whether you know they're there, but I don't know they're alive. Those two are the two rows on the bottom are very similar. The difference now is you'll see unknown big voids. If you consider a big void a void you could crawl through, and small voids being voids that you cannot crawl through. Those are the two different. So if you have unknown victims, big voids, it's in that second row. If it's unknown victims, small voids, it's going to be on that bottom row. So now let's look at the vertical columns. Level 3, rapid search and rescue needed, and level 4, full search and rescue needed. We're always going to recommend you go to the NSERA guidelines to view the full definition of each, but we're going to kind of abbreviate things for you. So if we can envision at level 3 being anything that's going to be one operational period or a medium type work. Level 4, we're going to say it's a heavy team or a multi-operational period. So if you can envision each of those columns in those fashions, it's going to help you quickly determine the proper triage category. So to summarize, the rows are going to give you victim status and survivability, and the columns are going to give you type and duration of work that's anticipated at that work site. So now let's go through and simulate a couple instances. Let's say we come upon a structure that has confirmed live victims, voices are heard, and I can see that this is a medium type or one operational period. So we're going to go confirm live victims, level 3, because I know that's a medium or one operational period, and I can come up with the determination that this is a triage category A. Now we'll say we came upon a structure where there's people, we know there's people in the building, but nobody's been in communication. We have not been able to determine if they're alive, and the voids are very small. We'll say it's a pancake collapse. So this is a unknown victims, small voids. So we'll start with that row. Now we'll go over to the columns. This is a heavy reinforced concrete. I know this is going to be a heavy team or a multi-operational period. So I'm going to go with level 4. And when I cross those two, I can determine that this is a triage category F. So now let's go back to the application, and we're going to show you how a disaster surveyor is going to help the rescuers in the field choose the correct triage category. So now we're back here on the application. We're going to select 1 for the confirmed live victim. Now I'm going to select the incorrect triage category. So it would be A or B, but we're going to select C and try to close it. When I close it, it says you've indicated confirmed live victim. Please indicate category A or B for the triage matrix. If no lives, select category C, D, E, or F. At this point, you can either delete and close this entire form, or you can hit the cancel button and correct what's been highlighted in red. Now that you've changed it to the correct row, category A, it will allow you to close, save, and upload to the server when you have connectivity. So now let's reopen that form, scroll down, and we're going to change the live victims, confirmed live, and we're going to change them to just people missing. So at this point, we're going to hit 0 for confirmed live, and we're going to change this. We could put 2, we could put unknown, we can put 10. It really doesn't matter. It just means there's people there, either we know they're missing, or there's people unknown, whether they're there alive or not. So we're going to say unknown. Category A is not the correct one for just unknown victims. When you try to close it out, it's going to prompt you and say, you have selected the category A or B for the triage matrix. Please indicate the number of confirmed live victims. If no live victims, select category C, D, E, or F. You can either delete and close this form, or you can cancel that, go back, correct it, and now when you try to close it, it will allow you to close, save, and upload to the server when you have connectivity. That's going to do it for today's tips and tricks. Please reach out if there's any specific tutorials that you'd like to see, or if there's any way Disaster Surveyor can help fill your training needs. Until next time, stay safe out there.